advanced technical and administrative. And so with that, when we really look at this technical, the jobs that you can get straight out of Coastline, or even when you're attending Coastline, is jobs that are looking at data analyst, data assistant, coordinator, junior data scientist. We offer programs here already that you can do that. You can get a certificate and move right into your job or advance what you're doing. And so those are the types of things of what does that mean? What would I do in my job? So they have things such as data, as you know, look on any social media, anything that we produces data. So Instagram, anything you put in that post, from the number of characters that you enter in to how many people look at your page to how many likes you have, you're already looking at data. You're already analyzing data, using data to plan. We think to ourselves, when I wake up in the morning, how many times can I hit snooze before I actually have to get up? You're using data, you're using calculations, you're using a lot of things similar to when we use our GPS systems, anything of that magnitude. Data can be very advanced, like something that can give you a prescription to say, hey, you may want to do this based on your preferences, or something very simple to say, hey, 50% of people like this type of, post or cereal or whatever it may be. As I was throwing a variety of different examples out there, you see data is blended in everywhere, from price setting to when to reload things, when to reach out to people. It's just all over the place. So like I said, the entry level skills we get at this level at technical is something like data entry, when you want to plug information in. This happens in a variety of small and medium level businesses. And so I think the other thing is also looking at the different approaches to do this. And every one of these courses and skills I'm mentioning here are found in the data analytics certificates and in the courses at Coastline. So what I've noticed is some of the courses we've taught is people will take the course and go get a job and won't even finish the program because they're already in the job. But then we go into qualitative, quantitative. So a lot of people think, oh my gosh, numbers, math, all this stuff, statistics. Not always. So there's a lot of data like qualitative, which is open-ended data. So someone makes a discussion post on in your class or on say social media. All that's information that consumers, businesses, and everyone uses to help make decisions, to help understand what's happening. As we go more advanced, as you get tons and tons of this information, you can put them in databases and you can pull that data out into querying. You can collect that data, you can aggregate or bring it all together. You can put it into tables or into graphs and to really tell that data story. You can put together reports, you can put together data visualizations. And these visualizations can then be used throughout not just your organization, but your day-to-day lives, and then also in any aspect of what you're doing. A lot of these things are free to learn, very simple to use, and a starting salary for one of these ranges, and it just depends on the industry, between $60,000 and $100,000 for a certificate through a PhD. Like I said, I've hired people with doctorates to do research assistant work. I've hired people with associate degrees to do research assistant work. When I started in research on accident, I started with an associate degree, and I started and this is 12 years ago or whatever, and it started at $50,000 with an associate degree. And I know it seemed a lot, but 10 years ago, it was a lot. And so looking at those things and how they progress and where you can go. And that's just an entry level position if you just wanted to do starting at the gate. And you can look online yourself. I say go on LinkedIn, you can search analyst, assistant, things of that magnitude related to data, research, business intelligence. But then what we want to look at is more an advanced technical, which we also offer at Coastline. Is really looking at, when you want to go advanced technical, you want to say, well, what does that mean? So it's kind of like what you're doing as an assistant analyst, and then advancing that on to more programming, data management, systems design. When you go into that field, there's a bunch of different strands you can go in there to be a data architect, and you could also be a coordinator of that and collaborating across different analysts, engineers, so on and so forth. You can do advanced visualizations. You can really look at how your system works and how to, what we call is making an enterprise out of information, is blending that throughout your organization. Because if you think about it, every position at every organization will use data in some specific way, maybe directly or indirectly, either collecting it yourself or reading it. And so there's always somebody or system behind that. And because of that, not everyone has to be a programmer. You can just be someone who orchestrates that, who builds the conversation around that. But information literacy has become one of the top skills that are needed, like I said, across every industry. not just one or two fields. So they have analytics, accounting, analytics. Let me say, they have data analysts for accounting. They have it for supply chain. They have it for business. They have it for like anything. We were looking at a new program at Coastline called sports analytics. You always go on and be like, hey, what's that person's batting average? Or hey, how fast does that person run? All analytics, all data, all the time. Amazon, Google, Facebook, any type of major company, when you're driving an autonomous car, all driven by, it's called machine learning, but in the root of data analytics, data science. And if you look at these things, so this will require a bachelor's, but Coastline has now partnered, and here you go, Paolo, here's some FYI. We've been partnering, having official partnerships with a lot of the CSUs for direct 2x2 programs that go directly into their analytics programs for data analytics. So when you look at the salary range here, it ranges, like I said, depending upon the organization, if it's private sector or public sector. Like our analysts at Coastline, at Coast District, they make nearly $100,000. Requires a bachelor's degree for an analyst. And then, you can move up to a senior analyst that makes like 110. And at other schools, 120. Or you can go to a data scientist, I was looking at the other day, 220. So once again, for a bachelor's degree and higher, typically when you get to the 200 range, they need a master's or PhD in very advanced skills. But within that range, there's such a need. And like I said, they do it in real estate. I can't keep going on and on about every industry's using this. And then after, maybe if you graduate beyond that, or if you're just tired of doing data, you want to move into a management role. So they have managers and people that oversee these projects. Because it's not just one system, it's like a zillion systems and a zillion different skills. And building, navigating, and leading these teams are really some of the major skills they're also looking for, because you have to learn how to communicate, not just with the technical individuals, but people outside of that, and how to share that findings from the data, the processes, so on and so forth. You need to understand, why do we do certain things for businesses with different data processes and different data for different things. And then you may also want to look at a vision for what that would look like for your organization. You needing the technical knowledge, having that. What we're seeing is a lot of transition between analysts, senior analysts, into management roles and executive roles, because they have those technical skills to help troubleshoot. Because a lot of the times, while you expect your analysts to know everything, they don't know everything. It's not possible. But if you can bring somebody in who has more of a broad perspective and experience in that, they can troubleshoot, collaborate, have cross-functional approaches to problem solving. And so typically, like I said, bachelor's to a PhD level is typically what they're looking at for those. But if you look at the salary range, $120,000 to $250,000. And like the other day when I was talking to FICO, and they were talking about their head person who's leading all of their data science efforts, it's up towards $1 million this person makes. It's a lot. It's a lot of money to make. And so this field provides, like I said, a variety of skills throughout the pathway. And there's so many pathways. And because in this next year, we're releasing additional pathways that are shorter and more flexible for students, as Dr. Fleming mentioned about GIS, where you can actually use cool systems, like he mentioned that he had a certification, we offer that. We have GIS classes that you'll be using ArcGIS, that the standard skill. We use Tableau, which is industry standard. So you'll be learning things from Excel all the way through advanced tools, and all open source in many cases, with Python and SQL and things of that magnitude. And those are more advanced technical, but also entry-level technical, that this field really provides those opportunities for people to learn. And so with that, I don't know if my computer is going to let me share sound, but let's see if I can do that real quick. Oh, Paolo, if you could help me with that, if I can share my sound when I am playing this video.
It's probably going to be in the audio setting. Yeah. I'll let you know if I could hear something.
Okay, cool.
And Carissa had a question. She didn't put it for everyone. She asked, how do you get into these transferable programs?
So this is the video that I actually have. Let's see if I can do it when I'll stop my share and then start my share real quick.
Okay, we can do a sound check.
Here we go. So let me, so I'll answer you a few questions. We'll go back to that video real quick. So So I agree, data is money. And so I think the other thing of how can you get into a field like this? So Coastline offers many pathways into that. And I know, Pal, you posted that in there into the chat. So we have currently 3 pathways you can do where there's short-term certificates. And what I've noticed is people can get the certificate and go. You don't need the degree right away, but you get the certificate and go. It's like 4 to 5 classes. Very foundational courses. We try to encourage people to go through to get that done. The newest pathways are going to be even shorter because we want to get people in the workforce right away. And then they can advance into different degrees. As of fall 2022, I think that's when data science is coming out. And that's where like it's going to be very advanced in programming. But like I said, we have it for all different levels. And then we'll look into doing things with sports analytics in addition to data analytics management in the near future. So myself and Professor West, who is the department chair over this, really can show you how to get into that. Coastline also has something called Club Data. We just started this year. It's our business club. It's similar to Business Club. It's Club for Data Analytics, where we're bringing in professionals. You can do your interviews. You can meet with people. We're actually doing some analytics studies right now, where we're actually going to do actual work and let people get their hands wet and say, hey, I completed this project. And the data will actually be, and the project will actually be used to help make business decisions. And so it's not just for fun and for practice like a course assignment. It's actually meaningful work to be done. And so I don't know if they published it. We went live like this last week. So I don't know if Casey and everybody went live with it, but Club Data, it's growing. I think we have 16 people. And it's pretty good for like the first time out. 110 people in the major already, and the major's only been around for about a year. So that's pretty positive. And I think that's where really you can get into it. And like I said, anytime you need to ask questions, you can reach out to Paolo, myself. I think that's the key point to say, hey, what can I do? But similar through this project, we're connecting people with internships. There's a lot of places that are looking for interns because, like I said, this is in such a demand field that they're looking to fill positions right away. And I think that's the biggest thing and in what we can provide at Coastline for data analytics. So let me see if I see you unmuted, Paolo. So
yeah, Ewan has a question on the chat. Like say he's asking, what's the job outlook for the admin positions?
So the job outlook, so currently, there's none that exist. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel to try to move those up. In the past, they used to just be directors, and now they're moving all the way to executives. And so executive positions, like I hold the executive position at my college with that, but it's starting to look at every industry to push them up. So the trajectory and the growth is huge. I think what it was like, I didn't have just specific management ones, but I know there were like 3 or 4 million jobs opening in the next year and a half for data analytics just alone. And a majority of them not just being technical, but being management. And then because management's going to be the translator from the technical to the decision makers. And so really building what was mentioned earlier about literacy is information literacy is like the biggest one, is how do you transcribe, synthesize, and make a decision on that. So I don't have those exact numbers. I don't know if Paolo can do some fast research to say what those are, but the challenge is when you look at managers, it's a skill that they all need to have. If you don't have this skill as a manager, you're gonna have to either learn it on the job or do it. Because even think if you go to Target and you're like, I want to be a manager, they're gonna be like, do inventory analysis. Well, if you don't know how to do data analysis, you're not gonna be able to do that job too well, you know? And so really thinking at every little aspect of now everything's so data focused, how do you blend yourself into those areas where data can be utilized and how you can be able and confident to demonstrate those skills? So that's where I see that's happening. See, I would say what we built with the certificates, I'll answer Chris's question. So what we built it in a specific manner. So we built it as a stackable certificate. So you can go along the way and just earn it all the way to the degree. And so the purpose of that is to make those little wins along the way. You know, everybody likes a high five as they're running by. Like, I think that's the big thing because all of those do that. So I'd probably start with the specialization. The newest specialization is going to come out will not require research methods. In the past, we really wanted to have a deep research background into that. And so I think we'd start with specialization. If you want to click on that, Paolo, is really looking at, so requirements. So yeah, so really simple where it's SQL and then introduction to data analytics and data viz. Super, like you could get a job like that. And so many people are like, oh my gosh, I just need to learn SQL. SQL's a 16 and 8-week class sometimes. Super baseline information to use. It's pretty cool. And so then also intro to data analytics, you're introduced to a variety of different processes and practices, and then visualization, which is running right now. So this next term, we have SQL is going to run in fall, but we do have intro to data analytics. There's no required order for those, so you can take those out of order if you would like. So, and that's more of the look at the certificate. Like I said, we're modifying that a bit to take out psychology and research methods for our newer, more technical focused areas. So it won't slow you down a bit because those are sequential to each other.
Can I add something to Aeron? So Carissa, so these certificates also stack up. So if you notice the certificate of specialization, it's only 3 classes, right? So something to think about. You could actually make good money from just one semester if you take all these 3 classes. So the next one is the certificates of achievement. So those 3 classes are actually integrated here. So the purpose of these certificates is to stack on top of each other. Aeron?
Yeah, and I think as you see, this one's 29 units. The other ones that we're putting out are like 18, so you can get through really quick. Because like I said, we have so many people trying to get in, and the interns I've brought into the programs I've started at Coastline is we keep them for about 6 months, and they all get full-time jobs, and that's phenomenal. Like some guy came in with a degree in music degree. He's now making $90,000 a year as a data visualization expert, doing it as an art because he loves art and music. And so he took qualitative or like data that you get in comments and can bring that to life into words and now shares that out. And you see it in magazines and ads. And he came in, did some internship, and he just had a music degree. And they were looking for someone who had the skills and abilities where they could blend with that. So don't think like, well, I'm not a data major. It's okay. It's totally cool. You don't have to be a data major. And I think that's the biggest thing that you may want to understand. You can be an accounting major. And like I said, they have accounting analytics jobs that pay just as much or more than accounting jobs. And I think those are the things to look at is data is needed everywhere. Or you can supplement. So say if you're an accountant and you have those skills, you're going to probably be a senior accountant right afterwards because you are dual skilled in those areas. And so looking at it that way is really key. I'm looking side to side because I have like three computer screens going on, so forgive me for that, but we do only have, I just noticed, 6 minutes left, so I'm going to I cut out some of the things that we had, Paolo, such as we had a Mentimeter on majors and things of that magnitude. I don't know if anybody wants to just type their major into the chat to say what your major is, if you would like to. And then maybe if we don't have that, one of the questions I did have is, I'll share my screen on the Mentimeter so you can kind of see what unknown still. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to share with my screen, and we don't have to go through this exercise, but it's kind of shows you what analytics is. So like what influences you to buy things? So we think star ratings. You go on Amazon, you're like, oh my gosh, like 5 stars, like 1 trillion ratings, I'm going to buy that, right? Or 1 star and like 80 ratings, I'm never going to buy that. You know, written reviews, what's important? You know, friend recommendations, advertisements, all of those are data. All of those produce data. All of those are driven by data. I think those are some of the biggest things to consider as you start thinking about it. You know, it's not that you're sitting behind a computer making charts all day. You know, you can be very creative with this information. And I think that's the most exciting thing. And I'll say about my job is that every day is something new, literally something new. Even Paolo sent me a message today to say, you know, how many people are in a specific major that we can reach out to engage in relation to courses that they need to take in their educational plans or something of that magnitude. It was a really long paragraph. I hadn't finished reading all of it, but it was something like that I'll be able to work with my team to help answer those questions so then he can make better decisions to say, who do I need to reach out to? It'll help our faculty say, what classes do we want to schedule? And so that's another way data is used. And like I said, looking at that, when just your consuming behavior, you're consuming data, you're using data. So almost everybody's already a data analyst just based on your shopping behaviors using like Amazon, you know? And so like, how long will it get here? Things of that magnitude you really think about. You do it in your daily lives with everything you do. So I'm going to stop my share and throw it out for any additional questions for the last 3 minutes that we have. So I see that Rochelle is majoring in business analytics. That's good. So there is a difference between data analytics and data science. So data analytics, you think of it more as Data analytics is going to be something like business intelligence, where you're using the data on a consistent basis with different business units, where those business units will help make more quick business decisions. Data science is you're building the algorithms and the backend system to help create and identify and bring data together. It's much more technical. Data science is much more programmer focused, but it's really high level math and high level programming to build models to help understand what's happening with like zillions of variables on a consistent basis. It can help with optimization. It can help with more streamlined decision making, and it can help with, so like if you go on Yelp, it understands based on the data where you live, where you're at, what you're interested in. If you're like, hey, I would like to have Mexican food, or I want tacos for dinner, based on those terminologies, it runs an algorithm to automatically spit out, here's recommendations you might have. So something like that would be with that, or if you're on social media and hey, here's something you may be interested in looking at. That's a lot of data science. It's prescriptive. It helps guide you to things, or you can model out to say the probability of occurrence of something will happen is like 99.5%. And so you may want to make this decision. So a lot of things like that. Data science is the framework of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So Siri and things of that magnitude are built on those frameworks.
I just want to just pop in because I think it's easier to communicate.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so when you're describing data as science, I'm seeing like it's like you need more math skills. Is that what I'm assuming?
Well, because there's data analytics and data science. Right. And so data science, you will need a little bit more advanced math just because of specific things you're going to be looking at, business calculus, things of that magnitude. But analytics is typically all that rise around statistics and probability and a bunch of different variables that you'll go with. Now, but